Well, let him in your head.
That's not the kind of guy that gets in my head. How you feeling lately?
First of all, congratulations on this show. I had so much fun with the twists and the turns, and your two characters were some of my absolute favorites.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
You're just so fun to watch. I wanted to ask, because the pacing of the show is kind of unique, because your characters don't really come in until about halfway through, but end up being so integral to everything. So I'm curious, were there any particular challenges of being dropped into this world a little bit later in the game like that?
That was a challenge for me. It's interesting. I was on a series once where the people who would come in like later, they always kind of felt like that. They were always hi, am I allowed to be here? Yeah. Thank you so much. But we as the original cast were always like, hi, you're here. You're part of the family. Yeah. And so
nobody was like that on this set, though.
I felt like you were all very standoffish, and you did not want me talking to you. No, I'm kidding. It was very much like that. Everybody kind of was really, really embracing. Yeah. You all like made me feel like a part of the family right away. And yet I still had that thing where I'm like, I wasn't here.
But that's
this
because
whole
your
time.
character. That's your character.
That's also the character.
That's why.
It's also the character. Yes, but for my character, she has a lot less welcome than I experienced. I experienced every welcome. Yes. But Dawn, of course, does not, because she's a Fed.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you were saying, Feds aren't welcome into departments because they're there to investigate and prove people.
Yeah. They like to get their stuff into everybody's business and swing around something, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no,
absolutely. Speaking of Dawn, as someone with a creative writing degree, I really love that she used her English major expertise to help with the case, particularly in that undercover champagne brunch scene. That was one of my absolute favorites. Can you talk a little bit about shooting that? Because I just want to know everything about that process.
Fun. That was a fun day. It was so goofy. I think it was and I don't want to speak for him, but on the day, Taron was mentioning that was one of the first days where we were really getting into kind of like that shift of the lens. I don't know if you noticed in the series, there's kind of a shift of, maybe this is a little bit more fantasy. Maybe this is a little bit, right? Like whose point of view is this in? Gets a little more saturated. It gets a little more arch even a little bit. And that's, as we find out, it's, because that scene especially is very much catering. Well, it's very much catering to Goodson's point of view and what he thinks of himself, his identity. And so, we got to kind of unleash a little, and it was pretty darn fun.
It's so much fun. I love how this show does balance the sort of more crazy comedic things with a lot of really horrifying stuff too. I feel like finding out what Dave did to the dogs in front of Ezra is one of the most brutal. John, I'm curious if you can talk about sort of preparing for that scene and just the emotional toll of that, because I imagine that was kind of a lot.
It was a lot. I mean, because I'm a big fan of dogs. I have dogs. I'm a dog lover. I mean, to a guy who doesn't care about human life or animal life or anything and is willing to sacrifice them. They're like sacrifices, like human sacrifices. And to shoot that scene, because Dennis does not want fake fires. And I agree with him, because CGI still looks like CGI. And having to work with real fires reminds you of the real dangers that these fires cause. Because we had fire department there, we had water tanks in waiting in real close by. And you felt that heat when they let that heat happen. There were no dogs that were hurt. No dogs were used. Somebody was the first AD was going to help me out, but
it's pretend. Yeah.
That part was pretend. Yes. But the real fire, I mean, you felt that heat and that blazing heat. And then I did have a stunt double to get close to the door, because I don't need to risk my life like that for anybody, not even for Dennis. I love Dennis, but I don't need to risk myself for that. But it was scary. It was real scary, and you realize how dangerous this was, and what a perv the real arsonist was. What a sick mind that is. And how do you enter into that sick mind? Only Dennis Lehane can enter it.
He can enter it safely.
Yeah. Safely.
He can. It's amazing.
Without any breadcrumbs to get out.
He's a master at it. Dawn also recounts her own intense experience with the shooting at the laundromat, but she has a really fascinating reaction to it that I was not expecting. I'm so curious, what was your initial reaction reading that background for her, and what do you think it says about her that that's sort of the best night of her life?
I'm so glad that you noticed that, because it's, for me, it's like the anchor for playing her. That scene is my everything, because because she does reveal very, very slowly, bits about herself. She is in a leadership position. She is not making friends. So I think that she surprises herself in how much she starts to allow herself to actually, show through the cracks. And with that scene, the second I'm like, okay, that lady dissociates. And why? And we got to ask ourselves, why does she dissociate? What was her childhood? Where did she grow up in? And it's such a gorgeous moment, tiny yet pivotal for our partnerships moment, when Ezra calls it. He just calls it. He's like, yeah, ice for veins. And she's like, she's seen. And that's jarring. And also,
turns her on.
It tells us, okay. It tells us, maybe in the globalist, concept of that, because it tells us that they have much more in common. Oh, yeah. Than you would ever expect, from behind the veneer, right? So
waters run deep.
That's very, to me, exciting. As a partnership for them.
And it's great the way that Dennis creates these relationships, because these are two totally odd couple people who don't belong together, and yet, opposites attract. And you could see the romance building up. And even though they're fighting, we know what that means. We've all been in the school playground.
I like it. I personally ship it. I'm into it.
Good, because that's what you get.
His school playground, because I'm not getting into that. Yeah. Anyway,
we'll see how things go. We'll see how it shakes out.
How it plays out. I'm confident.
It's kind of so interesting that Ezra is so adamant that he didn't mess up the stakeout and that he never saw Dave leave the night that Burke was killed. So I'm curious, at the end of the show, do you think he now believes he did miss something, or is there still that seed of doubt in his mind that Dave was actually responsible for that fire?
I think because they were best friends, I think he knows his psychological profile, Dave's psychological profile. And he knows. I think he knows a lot more than he's said, than he's telling as well. And why else would Dave destroy Ezra's career? You know what I mean? That's proof right there that the reason that he destroyed my career was because I couldn't get close, so nobody would believe me. Everybody would stop believing everything I said, and he character assassinated me.
That's a good point.
Right?
Even if you know that you didn't do a thing, even if you know the facts, and this happens in life, right? It does not guarantee that people will believe you.
No.
And that is so frustrating.
And it's reality. Reality. Yeah. Just because you're innocent doesn't mean people are going to believe you.
Right.
It doesn't mean you're going to get away with anything. I mean, get out of trouble.
Oh my God, we're doing character analysis, because that's going to be really good for us. Okay, yeah. Anyway.
I love it. I mean, I want to see so much more of these characters, and I know that Dennis has said that he does have a couple more seasons potentially mapped out. So I'm curious, what do you think could be next for your two characters?
Well, he's told me he laid out the next two seasons.
He laid the whole thing out?
Yeah. And, he told me what's going to happen. And she and I, things will happen. There's fireworks, so to speak.
Oh, dear.
And, I get my comeuppance. Maybe not in season 2, but maybe in season 3, I get my comeuppance. I get my revenge.
What about for you, Anna? Do you have anything that you would like to see for Dawn?
I want to know more about her. I want to know more about, where this chapter in her life takes her, and what the heck Ezra has to do with it. Because he has something to do with it. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both so much. This was so much fun. Like I said, I can't wait for everyone to get to see the show, and I so hope I get to see more of it as well.
That's awesome.
You and me both. Thank you.
Thank you.